Are we ready?
I believe so. Just a second.
You're live, Nicole.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you everybody for taking the time to join us today. So just quickly, we want to go through it and talk a little bit about the purpose of this webinar. We really want to provide our businesses with some resources. We know you're looking at your reopening plans and determining just how that looks for each of your businesses. So we wanted to take the opportunity to put together some resources for you. And really the purpose of today is just to talk through a little bit of that. We're certainly willing to answer questions that we can at this point. Nicole Hahn will be watching the Facebook comments. So if you have specific questions that we don't get answered as we go through, please feel free to put a comment in there, ask your question, and we'll certainly hope we have the time to get there for that. So I think we'll start out with just a short presentation to kind of set the tone and give you the information that we have available for you today, and we'll go from there. So as you can see, this is the business reopening webinar. And that graphic you see on the front there is the graphic that's on the front of the guide that we've put together for you. And once we have the governor's guidance that's to be released this evening, we'll incorporate that into the guide. And that guide will be available on our websites so that you can go to it as a point of reference and a resource and an opportunity to find the information that you need in one place instead of having to try to find it on your own. Nicole, if you want to move on. Nicole, can you move the PowerPoint? There we go. All right, so where we are today, Kansas Governor Kelly is to unveil her statewide reopening guidelines this evening at 6:30 p.m. And that's going to be live on television as well as on their Facebook page. So we would certainly encourage everyone to tune into that and see what comes out of that. Once the governor's statewide order expires, local governments can opt to make their local policies more restrictive than the governor's order, but they can't be less restrictive than the governor's. Yesterday, the FinneyCounty Commission in a special meeting voted to allow businesses to reopen following the governor's guidelines. So what we need to think about as we look at reopening our businesses is that we're all unique. And one thing that's important for folks to understand, and I put an asterisk beside non-essential because I think everybody's essential, and I think we'd all agree with that. But in this instance, it's actually a legal term. Non-essential businesses are not required to reopen. Each business and each individual needs to make their own decisions based on their own unique situations. And as I was thinking through this, kind of the way I felt this entire situation is that we really have to give each other grace and space. We have to give each other that grace. We have to give ourselves that grace, that this is new for all of us. We all need to make our own decisions based on our own situations. You can move on, Nicole. So what we've put together are some business resources. We've compiled a resource guide, largely based on CDC-based recommendations. There are specific sections for general business guidelines, restaurant-specific, retail-specific, and office-specific resources. There are also some great industry-specific resources. OSHA has some really good stuff out there. National Association of Home Builders. There's some really good resources available depending on your specific industry type that you can go and look at. We've also included resources with cloth face masks, cleaning and sanitizing supplies. We know those are things that you're certainly going to be wanting to look into, depending again on what the governor's guidelines are. Once those statewide guidelines are released by the governor this evening, we will incorporate any of the specific guidance that comes out of that into the resource guide so that again, it's all located in one place for you. Know that this is still very fluid. There will likely be phasing in of lesser restrictions. That's certainly what we're hearing, is that they're going to continue to watch the statewide counts and maybe lessen restrictions as we meet certain parameters. So absolutely stay current with that guidance as it becomes available. We'll do our best to keep the guide updated and to keep that information current for you. And one of the things that I do think is important for businesses right now, regardless of when you're thinking of reopening, whether you want to reopen again immediately when you're able to, or you want to take another couple weeks, whatever the case may be, we would say that there are some critical steps in that planning of your reopening. First, you need to contact your insurance provider. Ensure that you're following any guidelines that they've put in place to keep your policy active. We want to make sure businesses are cognizant that that could certainly be a concern. And certainly adhere to any and all guidance that you get from your licensing agency, if you have one. Salons are a great example of that. Restaurants, those entities that are licensed, your licensing agency should be putting out some pretty good guidance for you to follow. So certainly incorporate that and adhere to that. Creating a COVID-19 workplace policy. If you want to put together a written policy, we think that makes the most sense. Incorporate the things into that, like cleaning schedules and business practices that you're going to follow. Any requirements that you want to put on your customer base or your client base, if you want them to wear masks or whatever the case may be. Also, again, incorporating whatever the governor's plan comes out with this evening. And implement a COVID-19 employee policy. If you actually have employees in your business, it's going to be important that you have a policy in place so that you've got something for your employees to look at, sign off on, and fully understand what's expected of them in the workplace. The guide will be available at the FinneyCounty website. The other entities, I'm sure, are going to make it available on their websites as well. You'll see us sharing links to that guide on our social media accounts and so forth. So we're going to do everything we can to get that guide out to as many businesses as we possibly can. It will be updated as additional guidance becomes available. And if you, as a business, find an additional resource that proves really helpful to you, let us know that. Reach out to one of us that's on this webinar today and let us know. And that way we can incorporate it into the guide, because if it's helpful to you, it's probably going to be helpful to another business as well. So we certainly want to include all of the resources that we can for folks. And finally, we would just ask that, as we're going through this, remember that we're all going through this for the first time. Nobody has all the answers. One size doesn't fit all. Each business and each individual needs to make their own decisions. But let's continue to work together. Let's help each other where we can. Let's support each other and accept the decisions that folks have to make for themselves and for their businesses. Again, if we can all just remember grace and space, I think we'll be able to get through this with a little less stress than what some of us are feeling today. If you do need more assistance, if you have specific questions for your business or you have a specific need that you run into, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of us. You can reach out to Economic Development, Garden City Downtown Vision, Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce, FinneyCounty Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're all working together. If you come up with a question that one of us can't answer, we'll be happy to share it with the group and see what resources we can find out there for you. But most importantly, we just want to make sure that as you come up on questions and concerns, that you have folks to turn to. We're all available. We all want to see you be successful as you plan for your reopening. So, as I said, if you do have specific questions, you can certainly put those in the comment section of the video, and Nicole will get those questions to us and we'll answer those as we have time. First of all, I'd like to introduce the other panelists that are available with us today. From Garden City Downtown Vision, we have Sheila Crane. Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce, we have Micah with us. FinneyCounty Convention and Visitors Bureau, we have Roxanne. We also have the FinneyCounty Economic Development Team. Shannon Dick is our strategic analyst. Steve Cottrell is the Director of Special Projects. And Nicole Hahn, who's our Vice President of Community Development. Nicole, I think we had a few questions that were sent in ahead of time. If you'd like to maybe share one of those, we'll see if we can kick it off with some questions and see what answers we have.
Okay, sure. Just 1 second. Okay. If the order expires, do we have to open?
Absolutely not. Yeah, that really is every business, every individual gets to make their decisions. Just because the order expires doesn't change that. People have the right to do what they need to do. Recognizing again that some folks have employees who may be immunosuppressed. There's certainly a lot of reasons why people would choose not to reopen immediately. There's nothing wrong with that. Businesses need to make their own decision based on their own situation.
Okay, where are the guidelines for specific industries, i.e. hairdressers, restaurants, etc.?
Yeah, and again, the best resource we believe for that is going to be your licensing agency. So certainly as that guidance becomes available, we'll continue to share it. I know they've been updating some interim guidance along the way for some of those industries. You could certainly go look at that to get a head start, if you will, on some of the things that may be included in this ongoing order. But we're going to include some of that information, and we'll certainly have the links and the resources available so that anybody who is has agency oversight should certainly look there first.
Okay, what are some strategies for retail to reopen? Distancing, limiting of people in stores, requiring masks, etc.
Yeah, and again, I think we know that we're probably going to have some of this guidance rolled out in some phasing from the governor today, but certainly that will be incorporated into the guide. And any specific guidelines, if for instance, if she were to say 25% occupancy is all that restaurants can open up their seating for, or something of that nature, we'll make sure that's incorporated into the guide and updated as we go along. But I think for the most part, again, whatever the governor puts out, we need to adhere to that. That is the rule that we'll be following. And then beyond that, we're going to have a lot of suggestions available for businesses and ways that they can manage through that process of, if they need to limit customers, how can they best do that? If they need to require face coverings, if they need to post posters, for instance, and Roxanne has graciously agreed to print some of those posters for businesses if they need that as a service. So the CDC has some great posters out there that folks can certainly use. If a business has a real specific need and they don't feel like those posters really fit it, they can certainly reach out to us and we can help them to put something together that they can post. But yeah, I think by and large, we'll have most of those guidelines available for folks in the resource guide as they're planning their reopening. Shannon, did you have somebody that had emailed you a question as well?
Yeah, let me bring that up really quick.
And I have the question here on Facebook if you want me to read it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Is there a specific guideline for a business that has an employee that tests positive? Do we have to close? Do we have to sanitize?
That's a great question. And I would anticipate, again, I believe there will be additional guidance that comes out as the governor rolls out her plan. But again, this is where it's really important that you're talking with your insurance provider and know what guidelines they've put into place. Certainly, depending on your industry type, that could also vary. So if you are, for instance, licensed, there's a good chance that your licensing agency has some guidelines related to that. So we would absolutely encourage businesses that if you're concerned about that, it probably should be included in your policy for COVID-19 and your employee policy. So certainly one of those things you want to get answered before you do your reopening, again, by working through your insurance agency and looking through the governor's orders. Again, she may have pretty specific guidance. We just don't know that until we see her plan this evening. Are there any other questions from viewers that we need to get to?
Yes, we have quite a few coming in.
Okay.
Okay, will the guide have information in them to help us write our own store policy on safety, masks, etc.? Wording may be helpful.
There are some templates out there that businesses can use, and we do have links to those. So those will be included in that resource guide. And again, really good idea to run anything that you do policy-wise by your insurance provider, and make sure that you're staying within the parameters of your policy as well.
Okay. If the order expires and we are not open, will financial assistance programs such as the PPP program still be available to businesses?
I think there's going to be some more guidance from the governor on that this evening. She has taken the action of extending the declaration. So a large reason for that is to keep those federal funding plans in place. So again, those are things that we won't know for certain until we see exactly how the governor's plan rolls out. But certainly stay in contact with your accountants on that and make sure you're staying in compliance with those programs so that you continue to be qualified as you go through the process.
Okay, locally, do we have somewhere that we could get a hold of PPE or sanitizing products more readily? Most stores seem to be out.
Yes, and we did include a guideline. I know that there are businesses still limiting the amount of cleaning supplies you can purchase, and certainly PPE can be a challenge to find, but we do have some resources in the guide that can help with that. So we've got some industrial resources in Kansas-based businesses that do provide some of those, and that we would absolutely encourage businesses to get in touch with. That may be one of the biggest challenges we see as businesses all start the process at the same time, is really making sure that we have those sanitizing materials available for our businesses.
Okay, this one is a question on the clarification of the groups of 10 people or less. She says, when they talk about 10 people, do you feel like this is a per business total or a square footage requirement?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of questions about that, specifically to the governor's office and just how they're going to roll that out. I think that will probably be one of the items that will be pretty specific in the governor's plan as far as limiting gatherings. And I know that the square footage question has been brought up, and hopefully it will be addressed in the governor's plan as well.
Okay, there's a question on will we be doing a follow-up meeting outlining the governor's guidelines after her press conference?
If we all watch that this evening and feel like there's a lot of questions still out there, we can absolutely put something like that together. I think this team is happy to come back together and provide any follow-up information that we can. There's a good chance that we'll have some stuff come out through the different statewide associations that each of us belong to and work with that may even give a little better clarification. And if we can share those resources, we'll absolutely do that too. But certainly if there are specific questions, or if businesses feel like there's a need to have another one of these, we're all happy to do that. I don't think that's any problem at all.
Okay, don't have any more questions right now, but we do have a couple of people commenting on the Boot Hill Distillery and their ability to ship their hand sanitizer now. So to get into contact with them if you're short on your sanitizing.
Yes, and they're listed in our resource guide as well. So yeah, and again, any of those businesses that you guys know in our area that are providing some of these resources, if we've missed them in our guide, we definitely want to get them included. So please be sure to get those to us so that we can incorporate them into the guide. Obviously, we want to do everything we can to support our area businesses and state of Kansas businesses as we do this. I think if there's no more questions right now, Nicole, we might just take a little bit of time and let each of the different groups talk a little bit about what they have available, what resources they're providing to their specific memberships and or business groups that they work with. So Sheila, if you don't mind, we'll start with Sheila Crane from Garden City Downtown Vision and let you talk through some of the resources that you're making available to your membership base.
Okay. Right now, we still have some of the emergency stimulus loans available through Downtown Vision. for Downtown Vision members. Those loans are $2,000, which doesn't sound like much, but for many businesses, the Economic Disaster Injury Loan funds and or Paycheck Protection Program funds have not yet arrived. And so that could be a small amount of money to help you meet monthly obligations until those funds arrive. I know the Paycheck Protection Program, people that have applied early, those funds are starting to arrive. So hopefully these things, it'll come in cycles, and there'll be a little bit of help there for everyone. As Lana mentioned earlier, once this guide comes out, if there's anything you're having difficulty finding or resources that you need, please let us know. We're happy to help do some of the footwork to run some of those things down. When you do get access to that guide, on the last pages, there's a resource section, and there's some really, really good information in there. It'll take you some time to go through those various categories. But there's really a lot of information there that will be very beneficial, I think, to all businesses. And the only other thing I was going to say is, you kind of look at this whole thing as a three-pronged stool. You have you as business owners and what you've done to this point, and then all the adaptations that are going to have to be made going forward is one leg of that stool. And then the employees and those accommodations that need to be made for employees starting back to work, so that employees are comfortable and feel safe being back at work. And then the third leg of that is the consumer, how comfortable the consumers are, and anything that you can do to get information out to your customer base about what you're doing, cleaning, sanitizing, online sales, websites, deliveries, curbside pickup, any of those things. As much information as you can get out as possible to your customer base is really in your best interest, because that's what's going to build that consumer confidence as we continue to move forward.
Great comments. Thank you, Sheila. Micah from the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce, you want to talk through some of what you guys are offering?
Yeah, thanks, Lana. So the Chamber has been really working hard to help businesses with changes in their operating hours, or, curbside pickup, whatever difference that they may be offering right now in their business structure. We're really trying to help get that information out. We have a webpage on our website, gardencitychamber.net/COVID-19 resources, that we have compiled a list of as many local businesses as we can find information from, a list of PPE providers, businesses that have those resources. Any kind of a resource that you think that you might need, or difference in a restaurant's operating hours or a business hours, send that information to us and we will get that put on our website immediately. We also have like a spreadsheet document that has the exact same information available on it, that we're circulating on social media and a couple of other websites. So we are here to help you in whatever way we can to let the community know about your operating hours, and so that they, if possible, can still frequent your business, and we're just here to help you. Another thing is supporting our local businesses at this time, whether that be through gift certificates or that be through, buying gift cards to be used later. We're looking at resources for that. So anything that we can do to help, just reach out to us. We want to let the community know that you guys are there and we're thinking about you.
All right, thank you, Micah. Roxanne, how about from the County Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Hi, so we're a little bit different. Our charge is the outsiders. And so what we're working really hard to do is make sure that consumer confidence is there. And so we want to make sure that all of you businesses, as we start to reopen, have the information that you need as well, whether that be the printouts of COVID-19 posters from the CDC, maybe some individual cards that you can hand out to people, expectations of what your company is doing, and not only the expectation for your company, but what you expect from your consumer coming into your facilities. And so we're also working hand in hand with a lot of our events that plan on happening in the next couple of months and what the protocols are going to be to both keep their participants safe and both our community as well. So any questions that you have about any of that, please feel free to give us a call as well. Obviously, our first commitment is always to keeping everybody safe and sound, and anything that, as I echo everybody else, anything that we can do to help you and move you forward and us all to be safe and healthy together, we're here to do. So please feel free to reach out to us.
Excellent. Thank you. Nicole, do we have any additional questions that we need to get to?
We do have a few. We have a question on the rec programs. Any speculation on summer rec sports for the kids?
You know, we haven't heard anything about that. I think most of the agencies are really waiting to see what this guidance comes out. And I think on the local level, we have to be mindful that we certainly are seeing climbing case counts right now. So obviously it took us a little bit longer to get the virus here, but now that it's here, it's growing fairly rapidly. So again, I think we're going to have to watch and see what the governor's guidance is on that, and then let those local agencies make the best decision based on where we are in particular at the time that those would begin. I've not heard anything that says they're definitively canceled at this time, but again, keep yourself current on that, because I think we'll see announcements coming about things like that pretty rapidly once we get the governor's guidance rolled out.
Lana, I just got off the phone with the rep before we got on this call, and the suggestion, because I wanted to make sure that we knew about these things, the suggestion from the rec is keep an eye on their website, because as they open up, the first place you're going to be able to sign up for those things, if they're happening, is going to be on the website, so that they can still continue social distancing. So that's where I would direct everybody right now as far as rec sports or Y sports.
Yeah, definitely. And I know the YMCA and the rec have both been doing a good job of keeping stuff current. So great recommendation. Thank you, Roxanne.
Okay, this is more of it's coming from someone in Lakin, or they have friends in Lakin. Sorry, we're getting questions coming in. I'm losing my spot. Okay. She has friends that have not got their stimulus check yet, and they're wanting to know if there's anything they can do to get help.
I don't know if that question means, can they get help to find out where their stimulus check is, or if they can get help financially until they get their stimulus check. So I think we'll take a dual pronged approach. There certainly is a resource available through the federal government that you can check on your stimulus check, and we would encourage folks to go there. However, if it's an individual who's truly, if the question is, can I get financial assistance while I wait? Absolutely reach out. You know, if they live in Kearney County, they need to reach out to the resources available to them. There are definitely resources that are available in most of our communities out here where folks can help you and you either provide food, provide resources. If this question was about someone in Garden City, obviously we would connect them with the United Way and that would set them in motion. But absolutely, they need to reach out and see what resources may be available.
Okay, a question on if there are any travel bans posted in our area as of now.
The only travel ban that I have seen, and I'll let others weigh in if they've seen anything, the only county I have seen put out any travel ban, mandatory quarantine, if you will, is Trego County. They did put an order in place for their county residents that if they traveled, they added Ford County to the list of places that they would need to self-quarantine should they choose to visit Dodge City for any reason. So that's out there. Really, it's the KDHE website. The COVID-19 page is the best place to go to see where any of those guidelines are as far as places that you may travel that they would require you to quarantine yourself. Has anybody heard of any additional ones that they want to throw out there right now? Okay. Thank you.
We have a comment that says that Logan County has issued a travel ban.
Okay, I've not seen theirs, but certainly if you're from a county, you need to look at, if you're not from FinneyCounty, you need to be looking at your own county's websites and social media accounts. I know they're doing a really good job of getting those posts out there. So certainly follow your local government guidance in relation to any of the quarantine orders, stay-at-home orders, and any specific guidance. There, I suppose there are probably folks from other counties that are watching this, and we would just encourage you to make sure that you're paying attention to your own county. The regulations we're talking about and the decision that the FinneyCounty Commission made may be very different from what happens in your own community. So once the governor's order expires, there's no doubt that county commissioners will be weighing in and determining what's best for their own community. So make sure you're staying current on that. Again, following them on social media and make sure that you know what rules exist for your own community if you're looking to reopen, or if you're just a resident and you're wondering what your county's rules are. Certainly pay attention to that.
Okay, we have a question, construction related. Are there any restrictions for us to deliver product to Colorado? I'm guessing Justin needs to deliver some trusses.
All right. As far as I know, there are no closed borders. So certainly I think that the verbiage that we see most frequently is non-essential travel. So if it's non-essential, if you don't have to be going somewhere, you're really being encouraged to stay within your own home area. But certainly we understand that industry moves on and businesses are moving forward, and we have construction projects, and roofs are pretty important as we're doing construction projects. So if it was just in question, then yeah, I don't think there's any issues there. I would tell you though, I have had businesses contact me who have said that they're, as a courtesy, they're calling ahead to places where they're having to make deliveries, or something that somebody's waiting on and they're needing to take it to them. They're calling ahead and just letting them know, hey, this is where we are as a county right now. This is where we are. I'm not personally sick. My delivery drivers aren't sick. But we just want to give you the option. Do you want us to come right now, or is there a specific way you'd like us to make this delivery? So certainly being mindful that again, we each have a unique situation, and so being mindful of that and being gracious enough to offer that if there's a different way they'd like you to deliver product, that's certainly something that businesses may want to consider during this time.
There's also a question on guidelines. Are there any specific guidelines for the reopening of gyms or / health clubs?
Yeah, it is my understanding that there will be some special guidance for that in the governor's plan. I think you can expect that any of the businesses that she specifically talked about when she instituted the orders, I think we can anticipate that we'll have specific responses coming out in the phased reopening as well. So we've not seen those guidelines yet. I've seen some other states' guidelines. I know in some states they're actually just not opening gyms right away, or they're limiting them, significantly limiting the number of people that can be in there. But again, we'll watch for the governor's guidance on that tonight. And if any of those industry specific pieces, we'll make sure we incorporate those into the guide, and we'll have the governor's plan available, posted with the local guide as well, so that certainly folks can look at both resources as needed.
Okay, I don't see any more questions, just a few comments. There's been a couple of people post links. Child Care Aware posted a link to the Kansas Hero Relief Grant. Applications can be found on their website. Pam from the library posted that all of their programming for the summer will be online. A couple of resources for PPE have been put in the comments. And that
Excellent.
is all I see for now.
Okay, I really appreciate that. And yeah, we'll certainly incorporate those in as we can to the resource guide as well. So thank you all for sharing those. If you have any other questions, we're going to take just a couple of minutes here to wrap up. So if you have any other questions, type fast, get them typed in there so Nicole can read them for us. But I think real quickly, we'll just go back through the organizations. And if you don't mind, just your name, the best phone number to reach you at right now if businesses have questions, or an email, either one would be great. just so that folks have that resource. Sheila, again, we'll start with you.
Okay. Garden City Downtown Vision, that phone number is 620-276-0891. Email would be vision@gcdowntown.com. We also have 2 Facebook pages. Anything on the Garden City Downtown Vision page is where you're going to find those resources, things that are coming out of the state, things that are coming from FinneyCounty Economic Development, the Chamber, those kinds of things. And then we have a second Facebook page that's Downtown Garden City. And that's where you're going to find any of our downtown businesses that have PPE type things available. That's where you're going to find those things posted, specials, anybody that's got new hours, new products, anything like that. And then our newsletter also comes out once a week, and there's kind of a combination of all of those things in the newsletter. So you should be able, and we do have the COVID-19 resource page also on our website.
Excellent, thank you. Micah, Garden City Area Chamber.
Yes, Micah Bunch, Chamber of Commerce. The best phone number for us is 620-276-3264. An email to send us anything, and most importantly, your business updates so we can update our website would be chamber@gardencitychamber.net. We do have Facebook pages that we update and share a lot of our different business information. So it's GCK Chamber. And then our website is www.gardencitychamber.net. And again, there's that COVID-19 resource page where we are updating any and all business updates. So please send us your information and we'll get that updated as soon as we can.
Excellent. And Roxanne?
FinneyCounty CVB, our website is www.visitgck.com. We're the same as Micah. We do have some COVID-19 information available. Also, you can email us at rmorgan@FinneyCounty, county spelled out, cvb.com. And our telephone number to get a hold of us is 620-276-0607. And we're in office right now, Monday and Friday. So that's the best time to call. Anything else is going to be forwarded to my cell phone. So I look forward to visiting with you.
All right, excellent. And from the FinneyCounty Economic Development standpoint, we do have a COVID-19 resource page on our website. We're keeping that current with all of the federal funding opportunities as they become available and information related to those programs. We also have information on there about the local CDBG loan program. We do still have some funds available in that program. So if that's something you have questions about or concerns about, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Those are loans that we're able to get in your hands pretty rapidly through this time. So we've already been able to help a significant number of businesses, and we're happy to visit with you and see if your business would qualify for that. For us, the easiest way to contact us would be at the fcedc@ficoedc.com email, or you can certainly call me. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime. That number is 620-290-2244, and we're happy to connect you with any of the resources that you may need. Nicole, have we had any other questions come in that folks want to get answered, or is there anything else anyone else wants to share?
There are a couple more that have come in. A question about what about keeping up with the practices that the business has already started, like the curbside delivery, et cetera. They would really love to see our community still have this option available.
Yes, and that's included in our guide. So we have some pretty specific COVID related guidelines, but we've also incorporated some of those business best practices. So depending on your business type, we do have some suggestions in there. Some creative ways that we're seeing where businesses have stayed active and been able to continue doing sales throughout this period. So, and this is a great opportunity to really congratulate our business community. I mean, you guys, our businesses really stepped up. They found creative ways to stay in front of their consumer base. And, we absolutely would love to see that continue on once this crisis is over. It's been really, really heartwarming to see how people will support one another and really, again, how people think outside the box and do things that we probably never thought we would have to do in some of our businesses, but it's been really great to see. So we'll certainly keep those available. I know Sheila's also been doing some webinars with her membership base on some of those things that they can be looking at doing. So absolutely. And I would also say if there are businesses that would have a real interest in doing something like that, certainly reach out to us. If you'd like to do a webinar specifically related, for instance, to retail strategies or restaurant strategies, we'd be happy to put together some of those industry specific webinars for you. And the entire group would be happy to have our expertise available to you. So certainly let us know if that's something that you'd have an interest in. Great question. Anything else there, Nicole?
A question on, yes, a question on self-employed and if they are able to apply for some of these loans through the state and federal agencies that are offering the programs.
Yeah, so the best thing to do is go and look at those resources that we have posted. I think all of the entities have those federal programs posted on our websites, so you can certainly go to any one of those. But the guidelines are pretty clear. When you read through those, you can see which programs apply to which types of businesses, and that's absolutely what we would suggest that they do, is go look through those. Certainly look for all of the resources that are out there, though, and definitely contact your local bank. Your bankers have some great access to information for you as well. So don't hesitate to reach out to your financial institution or to your accountants. We've been having conversations nonstop with businesses, with both their banks and their accountants, and there's some really good resources out there available for folks.
Okay, I don't see any other questions except one. Just maybe Lana reiterate that where this video is going to be available afterwards if they missed the first part of it.
Sure, absolutely. So the video will be posted on the websites. It will be on the FICO EDC, which is the FICOEDC.com website. It'll be available there. It'll be available on Facebook, I would assume, Nicole. They can go back and view it actually on our website,
Yes.
our Facebook page. So yeah, and if you have folks who missed it, or you yourself watch it and you say, oh my gosh, I wish such and such business would have seen it, feel free to share it with them, but also certainly feel free to share with them that we are all available to answer any additional questions they have. So if you go back and you watch the video and you say, I'm not sure I know what that meant, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to meet one-on-one with you. So know that from the economic development standpoint, we are all still working. We are all working remotely, but we're all still available to you. We're available to visit with you by phone, or certainly through a Zoom meeting if that's necessary. Really, whatever you need as a business to help you find the resources you need, we want to be here for you. So certainly don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm sure the other entities would say the same thing. We're all available to help with anything that we can during this time. All right, Shannon.
There's one more question that has come in.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. She is asking basically that as far as she's seen, that Kansas doesn't have any funds available as of now. And the only ones available to us are PPP or the EIDL.
Okay.
Clarification.
I'm not real sure what the question is. It's to
this person would have I believe is self-employed, so it may be something to do with that.
Okay.
But maybe stating that, like the higher fund obviously ran out fairly quick. If there's any actual state resources that we have available to businesses, or mostly federal money.
Yeah, so again, those programs, all of the programs that have been made available, whether they've been made available locally, statewide, or federally, are available on our web pages. That's probably the best way to go and find out what those resources are. And I know with a lot of those funds, they're telling folks, go ahead and prepare to apply just in case funds become available again. So even if there aren't funds currently, find out what the rules are for applying so that you would be prepared in case they reopen funding. Do you think that answers their question, Nicole?
I believe so.
Okay, excellent. Shannon and Steve, we haven't let you talk. Do you have anything you'd like to add, or do you have any questions yourselves that haven't been answered?
It's probably a good thing you didn't let me talk, so I'll just be quiet.
I was going to say, just pay attention to all the entities' Facebook pages. Everybody's been doing a pretty good job of keeping that up to date as information has been coming out. So that's probably one of the quickest ways to get information, as well as the web pages as well.
Yeah, certainly. And thank you to all of you, Downtown Vision, Chamber of Commerce, and CVB for keeping your social media pages current. I think that helps people a lot when there's things I think that people don't think about, and when they see it come across their social media, it gives them a moment to think about it and get more information on it. So thank you all for what you're doing. Again, we're all unique. Really give one another grace. Think through your own unique situation as you plan for your reopening. If you have industry specific questions, feel free to reach out to us. Again, if you're a licensed business, definitely look to your licensing agency. They're going to have the most comprehensive guidelines available for you. If you don't feel comfortable opening immediately or opening, full service immediately, don't feel bad about that. Take your time. Do what's best for your business. Do what's best for you as an individual. Know that your customer base probably isn't going to come running back in on day one, and that's okay. We all need to get used to whatever the next step is together. So let's give each other some grace and some space to make the decisions that we need to make for our own businesses. Take care of yourselves, take care of your employees, take care of your consumers. And we're all going to get through this together. We're going to continue to support you as businesses, and we're going to do everything we can to help make the transition from one phase to the next as seamless as it can possibly be. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have additional questions for any of us. We're all available to help you. And thank you again for taking the time to participate today. It's really good to get the opportunity to visit with our broader business community. Thank you.